Welcome to my backpacking adventure on Catalina Island. I'll be taking you along on my journey through this stunning landscape.
I literally can't stop smiling.
From breathtaking ocean views to unexpected encounters with wildlife, this trip was full of surprises and challenges that tested my hiking skills and adaptability.
Oh God!
Join me on day 4 of my journey. Day 4 started out like many of the other days on trail. I rubbed the sleep from my eyes, checked my hair, and brewed a cup of coffee.
Nope, that's everything. Thank you.
Instead of rushing out of camp, I opted to let myself move at a slow pace instead. I looked around the tent and acknowledged the condition that my gear was in. My socks, shoes, and rain pants were still covered in mud, and they hadn't really dried out overnight. My sun shirt, trail leggings, and hat were looking as grimy as ever. The mud and grass on the bottom of my shoes seemed ingrained, a constant reminder of the challenging terrain. Briefly, the sun peeked through the clouds before being swallowed up again.
Good morning. I am heading into Two Harbors right now. I just left my tent site and heading into the little town that's close to me. I've kind of been putting off telling you guys this, but this morning I changed my plans. I switched my ferry from Avalon to Two Harbors, and that means that I am no longer hiking to the airport to take a shuttle to Avalon. With the weather as it is and the condition of the trail, I felt like this would be the best approach. Because I can't even walk on the trail. The trails are completely muddy and shut down. So my option would be to walk the road to Little Harbor and then walk the road to the airport. And as fun as that sounds, after all the crappy walking yesterday through the mud, I just decided that just not worth it. Just not worth it. So I'm going to just have to come back to Catalina another time and try again with better weather, better conditions, because this is just too much. It's not happening. Oh my God. Bit of beach walking.
The ferry to San Pedro was rough. The crew handed out barf bags right before we pulled out of the port. The storm that had rolled in was a big one, and it shook up the seas, causing aggressive waves in the channel. It was beautiful to see the island from this perspective. From the outside looking in, it seemed. Despite the rough seas, I marveled at the multicolor, rocky cliffs that lined the coast of this island. The ferry's bow bounced and swayed with the waves, and a pod of playful dolphins caught my eye, darting in and out of the water. After docking at San Pedro Harbor, I took an Uber back to Long Beach. And eventually reached my cozy Airbnb in Newport Beach. I just had the longest, most delightful shower of my life. Oh my gosh, I literally have stuff all over this room drying out. Everything smells like mildew and it's disgusting. I'm gonna wash literally everything when I get home, but I'm gonna show you the state of my room right now because there's a lot going on. Let's just say that. Drying out all of this right now and it stinks. Drying out my plastic wrap. This is my fresh clothes, sleeping bag because it is smelly. This is the leftover food that I have. Here I have all these bathroom products that I brought for after I was done hiking. These are the things that I had with me backpacking. I need to lay out my sleeping pad because I know that it's wet. Probably gonna pull out my pillow because I know it's wet as well. My book made it okay, it did not get wet. And I'm probably gonna finish that book tonight and I can't wait. And then dirty clothes, the brain in my bag, headlamp, a little bit of extra stuff I brought with me. And this is all the stuff I hiked in for several days. So it is very dirty and I'm keeping it in the corner for now. Probably gonna throw it in that Whole Foods bag just to carry it out and have it separate from my other stuff. But I feel like everything that was on this hike needs to be burned because it smells like sweat and it hasn't dried out over days. It's been days. So needless to say, I am so excited to be here in the hotel. I am staying just down the street from the beach here in Newport. So I'm going to probably make my way to the beach this evening so that I can watch the sunset from the beach because you just don't get that stuff in Utah. Holy smokes. What a crazy few days it's been for me. Two things before we get started. Number one, if there is any noise that you can hear, I'm sorry. I'm in a room with people all around me. There are people upstairs making lots of noise. There are people driving by on the street making lots of noise. So I'm sorry. And number two, the picture frame is not centered above the bed. So that's not on me. Just gonna throw that out there. So obviously this hike did not go as planned. And I feel like I say that in almost all of my videos. You can do as much planning as you want with a hike and with a trip or adventure, but when it comes down to it, things just might be different. Honestly, like one of the biggest things with not finishing this hike was not providing for you guys. And so calling this hike early did leave me feeling like I failed you guys a little bit. So let's start back at last night. Most of last night I was planning on hiking to the plan that I had set. So that meant hiking to Little Harbor, which was about 6 miles, and then hiking from there up to the airport, which was about 6 to 7 miles. And I knew the trail was going to be closed. I knew that I was going to be road walking because there was more rain forecasted overnight and first thing in the morning. And I talked to the people that were in the tent right next to me. They had just started the TCT and they were planning on going in the opposite direction. And one of the guys had done this 7 or 8 times, and he said, this is not the kind of weather you want to hike this trail in. This is not the kind of experience you want to have here. And I didn't really think I had another option. So when I was looking at ferries and I was looking at shuttles, I couldn't really figure out how to get from Two Harbors to Long Beach. And one of the guys, he said that I was able to book a shuttle from Two Harbors to San Pedro. And San Pedro was just about a 10-minute Uber ride from Long Beach. So as I was contemplating this all night and kind of like soaking in how I felt, I had contemplated last night switching my shuttle, but I went to bed thinking that I was going to get up at 6 a.m. and pack all my stuff and get an early start to the road hiking. So I was able to get to the airport before 5 o'clock, which was when I needed to catch my shuttle to Avalon. So I set my alarm and I had a pretty good night's sleep. I had a fox come in my tent in the middle of the night, and so that scared me a little bit. My alarm went off at 6 a.m. I woke up and I felt just like an extreme fatigue. I allowed myself to set an alarm for 7 o'clock, getting up a little bit later. Between 6 and 7, I had a dream that I didn't wake up till 8:30 in the morning and that I wasn't able to complete the trail and that I just needed to rebook my ferry and take it from Two Harbors to San Pedro. And not all of that was true. I woke up at about 7:30, and the first thing that I did when I woke up was I rescheduled my ferry ticket. So it costed $1 more because I was changing ports, but they were easily able to do it for me over the phone. I felt like such a relief when I was able to do that. I came to the realization that road walking for 13 miles and forcing myself to do that in the mud and the crappy weather, it was not going to be fun for me. It wasn't going to provide me with incredible footage. It wasn't going to add to the story of this trail that much. So eventually I just surrendered to the fact that I wasn't going to do it. So after hanging out in my tent for several hours, I headed into town, into Two Harbors, and I sat in their little cafe. I don't even really know what it is. It's the only restaurant in town, and I got a coffee and I sat there and I read my book. And in that little cafe, I saw the most backpackers that I had on the entire trail. Most of the backpackers were just leaving anyways, so everyone was either getting food in the cafe or they were hanging out outside of the cafe or down by the harbor area where we would get on the ferry. So I was surprised to see that many backpackers and to see so many people also calling off their hike and calling off that trail because of the weather and because of the crappiness of it. Like, the trail was closed. Really the only way across the island was to hike the road. And that's not really what you sign up for with backpacking. It just was a lot. Something that I really struggled with on this trail was being wet and damp all the time. Like, my gear didn't really dry out. Everything was just kind of moist all the time. After taking the ferry from Two Harbors to San Pedro, I got an Uber ride, my very first Uber ride, people, come on, from San Pedro Harbor to Long Beach Harbor so I could pick up my car. And then I went straight to a Whole Foods and I bought so much food. I bought so many things and I really just ate one of them, but the rest of it I'm gonna eat for dinner, so I'm really excited about that. I hung out for a while and then I went and picked up donuts at my favorite donut shop here in Newport Beach, which is Sidecar Donuts, and if you're ever in Newport Beach, definitely go. And then after the donuts, I showed up here into my room. I'm here and I'm so happy to be here. That was the hike. I will definitely be back to Catalina Island because I want to complete the trail. There was so much of that island that was so beautiful, and I was really only able to complete a small section of the actual TCT. Yeah, and then I was forced to road walk for the other parts, and they were beautiful, they were pretty, but I want to do the actual TCT. So I think next year around this time I will try it again, and I think I will also plan for 5 days potentially. Most of the people that were on this trail, they were going from Parsons Landing to Hermit Gulch, which is technically backwards. Like literally every person I talked to, they were doing the trail in that order. So I don't know, I've never completed the trail before, and these people seem to have done it multiple times, so there were a lot of options with the TCT, and I feel like just going out there and experiencing what I experienced gave me a whole lot of clarity about how to plan the hike in the future and what to expect and what amenities are where and how to utilize them and all of that. So I know this has been a huge rant. I felt like there was a lot to explain there, so thank you for watching if you are still watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys and your kind messages, your kind comments, and I really love doing this, so thank you so much for being here.
So in the distance you can see Catalina Island back there, and that's where I was earlier today.
If you enjoyed this video, please give me that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are not already subscribed, so you can see more of my videos, more of my adventures, trails, trips, all of the things. Alright you guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!